Normally this is where I'd include a deck list, but please none of you make any of these decks, they're all terrible, and if you're going to use Stregobor, just make a mill deck and then probably lose because your opponent realizes what you're doing. We had to use Stregobor in this case to try and make something happen by using him, not just throwing him in a mill deck. So we tried Vildkaarl decks, Living Armor, Monsters deck with Death Wishes, and Skellige decks to activate Berserk, and they're all pretty bad, so please don't try this on your own. So to start off with, here's a quick little compilation of a bunch of videos so you all understand what it's like to try and make a deck around Stregobor. This first deck here we're using the Nilfgaard deck with Living Armor. The idea is we draw Living Armor with Stregobor. It doesn't get set to 1 because of Living Armor's ability. And then we swap Living Armor's power with stuff, and Living Armor stays at a 10 and we boost stuff. So how this deck really works is you always lose, and basically we put on lockdown because the only way we're really going to win with this deck is if we somehow root our decks badly enough that our opponent's decks badly enough they can't do anything, so we tried using lockdown. After these quick few replays here, we'll go into 2 games in depth, which were much more interesting than these because these games here were just, yeah, you'll see how they go. So yeah, that one's over. We go on to the next one here. We try again, going up the Skellige deck. Same plan, we want to use Stregobor to draw our Living Armor. So we try this in Nilfgaard first because we can put stuff to the top of our deck most easily here. And then we put to the top of your deck whatever you want to draw with Stregobor. It's like half of a Neuromancy because you can play whatever you want out of your deck with a Neuromancy. But there's a couple things you can do with Stregobor. If your opponent passes and you need some kind of card, like an extra card out of your deck, say you're down, say you're on like 7, right, and your opponent has 2 cards, you can play Stregobor and they pass. And you need 2 cards to beat them, you can play Stregobor and then Fisher King or Albrich, whatever puts it on top of your deck, and you'll draw a card. So if you don't have a 10-point play, you could do that for 10 points and draw cards. Will end up on the same number of cards as them in round 3, but come on. That's not good. We're just stretching here to try and find uses for Stregobor. And this one here, yeah, this one's pretty bad. So we go into the next game, and in this case, we're going to be going up against another Skellige player. Now, in this one, we're trying to use the Monsters deck. The idea here is you can draw Azrael, because Azrael's already a 1. And if you draw Azrael as a 1, that's great. The other thing is you can draw your Dettlaff, stuff like that, with the Monsters deck. You can draw your Death Wish cards, and that's the idea. Obviously, all these decks are terrible, so don't try and make them. We're just trying to actually find a couple good games using Stregobor as like a focal point of our deck. So in this one, we're playing against Northern Realms. This one's a Skellige deck. Here, the idea is we draw, I think it's Vildkaarl, the guy who turns into Champion of Smallblood with Berserk, so we can use our leader charges on Blue Boy Lugos and then also activate him for a 12. Yeah, that's the main idea here. The other thing you can do is you draw Olaf. If you draw Olaf with Stregobor and manage to get the order off, he becomes a 15, which is pretty good actually. That's pretty good. The problem is setting it up is not good, and everything you have to do with your deck to make this stuff happen is terrible. So even though like the plays of like say playing Champion of Smallblood right out of your hand as a 12, or Olaf and then ordering it to a 15, they sound good on paper. But the amount of work you have to do to make this happen is really not worth it, and you lose so many provisions. So like, in these decks, the only option is Fisher King, right? So, in Nilfgaard, there were other ways to put stuff on top of our deck. And then in Monsters, you could Naglfar and put a gold back on top of your deck. That's really risky, because you could look at 2 gold cards go on top of your deck. So what you really want to do is typically you're going to play Stregobor, it'll be protected, and then the next turn you play Fisher King. And then whatever goes on top of your deck, you immediately draw. So that's the idea. Obviously this is all pretty bad, and as you can see through these games, here we are losing to everything that there is, basically. And I'm not surprised. Someone just wanted me to lose all of the my faction current MMR for the pro rank. So whoever wanted me to lose all my MMR, thanks a lot, guys. That's alright, we'll make these decks for you. Maybe next time I'll actually make a good deck, show you off one of my ladder decks or something. So in this case, this game is pretty much over, and now we'll move into 2 games that are actually pretty interesting. Alright, so for this game, we're going up against Ursine Ritual. And usually that means it's a Lippy deck. And Lippy decks really struggle when locked down. So this is one of our only chances here, is we can lock down the Lippy deck, Prevent them from using any of their synergies, their Siriuses or whatever. Yeah, their Shield Maidens. Yeah, if we can just stop them from being able to execute their deck strategy, we actually have a chance, which is why I ended up going with Lockdown for the Nilfgaard version of this deck, because nothing else was going to give us as good a chance to win as potentially just locking down someone who needs their leader ability. So they're going to start with Crow Mother. Interesting. So this makes me think it's probably Lippy deck. I did play a couple of Druid decks with Ursine Ritual. I have no idea why they used Ursine Ritual, but they did. I think they just wanted the Blue Boy Lugos removal potential. I'm not sure what was going on with them either. So in this case, we're just going to play our Morlehem Hunter for a couple of bleeding points. So this is back to the Nilfgaard version of our deck, where we have our Living Armor. So what happens usually with these decks, in particular this one, is that the only thing we want to draw, well, actually two things. We want to draw a Stregobor, right? We want to draw Living Armor, because it stays at a 10, because it stays whatever its armor is. And the other one is we could draw our Defender, right? Because he's only a 1-point guy anyway. Then he boosts himself with Battle Preparation. So those are two good targets. But right now we have them both in our hand, which is pretty problematic if we ever do get Stregobor. The only thing we could really want to take out of our deck, well, Roderick's also actually a pretty good option too, because he's a 2. And then if he goes to a 1, this also applies to all spying units. If you set us, or disloyal, sorry, they changed that wording around. If you ever get a disloyal unit set to 1 with Stregobor, it's actually pretty nice because your opponent gets less points when you play it to their side of the field. So actually we have Stregobor and Bribery here. Now I wanted to play Stregobor just because it's a Stregobor deck, we're trying to show him off, but there's really no reason to use him at this point. He's almost a dead card. So we see what he's playing. We've confirmed it's a Lippy deck at this point. So we'll just go for this.
We dance.
Draw a couple cards. And let's see what happens here. Now we do have indication if we want to take his Shield Maidens or Ceres, but to prevent him from using them. And the other thing with Nilfgaard is you have Peter, right? And you can reset the thing that's set to 1 too. So there's a lot of uses. Well, here's what I'll say. Well, there's a lot of ways to compensate for Stregobor screwing you over.
Thank you.
Because inevitably he will. But we have a couple options here to try to fix that. That doesn't mean the deck's good, or I would recommend you use it. But there are ways to try and offset the bad things Stregobor can do to you, which does not make him good. If you want to use him, just seriously, just make a mill deck. I just can't stand mill decks, and the person who wanted this doesn't really want us to make a mill deck either. So we won't make a mill deck. But if you're going to use Stregobor, put him in the mill deck. Hope your opponent's like watching Netflix or something on a second monitor and doesn't realize what you're up to until you win like round 1 by them passing after like 3 cards. And then they don't have a deck in round 3. But yeah. If anyone knows what you're doing, what I found at least is I'm not exaggerating here, I've actually never lost a game to a mill deck. There's not that many of them, but as soon as you know what they're doing, almost any reasonable deck will win, because you just beat them round 1 and 2.
Do not make me beg.
And they're putting so many of the provisions into making your deck smaller, the cards aren't worth very much outside of that. So moving on in this game, we spying them. Giving them a Roderick is honestly not great, because they're going to want the tutoring and searching from their deck to get out their Lippy and stuff. So, not ideal, but when they flip their deck, but we'll play it anyway. We need our cards out. Savage Bear coming out here for a couple of bleeding. We have our Defender. At this point, we're down an incredible amount. There's been a lot of drawing in this game. Like, if you look at the card counts, we have 8 and they have 7, but look how many cards are already on the battlefield. It's pretty ridiculous, actually. And it's kind of hurting us because I don't want to play many of these cards, or really any of these cards, but I don't want to just pass on 8 and then go into round 2 uneven. Want him to have to work a little harder for it. So I guess we'll play Heatwave and get rid of the Crow Mother, because that's a recurring carryover value for him. Let's remove that. We could have removed a couple more points by hitting something else, like the mana, but it's worth it much more to me to deny that carryover since we don't have a good target. Invocation I want to save also, for Champion of Smallblood mainly. I'm not sure if this guy is using it, almost all of them do. Actually, I think all of the decks I played do. But if you can Invocation Champion of Svalbard, that's worth 12 in the next round, so that's fantastic too. We're just trying to set up for a round we can potentially win. The other thing is we are using swap power, so if we swap Champion of Svalbard's power with like Vincent or something, it'll go to a 12, and then we can use the Champion of Svalbard to eat the guy who swapped the powers, and he'll get back to a 12. So that's why I really want Champion of Svalbard here. So he's going to play his first Shield Maiden. So let's see. I think we just pass. So yeah, I think we just pass. Because I don't really want an invocation that, and I don't want to use up my locks or anything on it, so we'll just let him have this first round. Since I don't think he'll be able to swap his deck anyway, considering we're using lockdown. I don't see he's going to activate his Shield Maidens. Now he has one in the graveyard and one active still in his deck somewhere. So let's see what we get here. Honestly, our hand's not looking too bad, and our opponent can't use their deck, so this is like the only chance we really have. So we have actually Auxiliary and Letho. That's quite nice. That's a lot of value. Maybe we'll try and well, it'll be very hard for him to actually win in round 2. I don't think he can do it, so we just need to assemble our round 3 as best we can, and then maybe we can take this guy out. He's not let's see what he wants to do. He's probably going to play like a couple cards he wants in the graveyard. I don't think he'd Lippy yet. So he's not using Roach, which is pretty weird to me. Usually they use Roach and Barbas. But I guess he wanted something else in his deck more, so here's the Oneiromancy. He's just going to draw a card and discard a card. He's setting himself up for his deck swap. Interesting. So he's got 8 points out. We're going to have to play some of our good cards at some point here. But I think we'll probably start off with Eternity Joust. We don't want to waste anything we don't have to. And we have actually really good setup here. We can move something atop our deck, so we guarantee to draw it. Yeah, I think we're just going to play the Living Armor here. This guy looks... So, normally I'd save Living Armor, but our hand's so strong, it's unlikely we're actually going to want to put any of these back in our deck to try and draw our swap power guys, right? So we'll just play the Living Armor here to try and get ahead on cards. So here comes Ceres. Drummond Shield Maiden. Probably don't want him to use that Shield Maiden. So we'll just Tourney Joust that, take it out. Now if he plays another card, we're going to try really hard to go up a card. And if he just passes, we can set the top of our deck. So the reason we played Living Armor, even though it's part of our whole strategy here, is our hand's so good, we're not going to want to put anything back in our deck. And that's basically it. We don't want to put these back in our deck to search out a 4 provision bronze card to swap our power, so we might as well just play them now. And you probably get... The other thing that seems to keep happening when you play Living Armor is like there's Elder's Thunder or something, and then when you swap your power, you get like +2, which is not great. Okay, so here's Vildkaarl. I definitely want to lock or destroy that. Although I don't know if you can activate it anyway. No, I don't think you can use it. Yeah, I think we're safe from it. So we're just going to play this and set up our top card of our deck. Now we could put Stregobor on top. That might help our opponent more than us, but it's a Stregobor deck, so we're going to do it anyway. 7-point card. He doesn't know what's coming. Yeah, I don't think there's a way that the Lippy deck can actually use Vildkaarl without leader charges. It's not like they're playing Knut the Callous or something from a year ago. That actually probably wasn't a year ago, whenever that was the thing. So it looks like he's just going to pass. We have several options to drop here. I think we just need 4 points, and if we only need 4 points, I'm going to Invocation Ceres on Crate, right? Because that way he doesn't have it, we can play it for 8. And look, wait, we have the genius plan here. If we play Ceres and spawn the Drummond, the one that plays a base copy of himself is his damage, we can play Vincent, and he's a 3. Then we can swap Vincent's power with that one, because she's a 4, and then it'll be damaged, and we can spawn a base copy of it. So we don't need the Living Armor to get value out of our bronze cards. This is a genius plan. Now we actually need the swap cards, so we don't want Magni Division. We want those other guys. Alright, let's go deck. Put the Magni Division back. Magni Division back again. Oh, we got one. Alright. Perfect. There's no way he actually expects us to do this, right? So let's just play Ceres. He's not actually going to stop this, right? So there we go. Got our first guy. Girl, I should say. And what's he gonna do? He's not gonna kill it, I imagine. He's only gonna play his Lippy. Swap his deck in graveyard or whatever. Oh, Crow's first. Okay, Crow Messenger comes out. So we need one of our 3s to swap with us. So Vincent, or Peter, or Vanamar. Okay, we're just gonna play Stregobor. And hopefully here we can get him to draw something. Ideally here what happens is he draws. So we know that he leaves in his deck his Morkvarg, right? If Stregobor draws him his Morkvarg, he can't swap it with his graveyard and get any points from it. So in this case, Stregobor would actually do something good for us, which is more than most cases. So hopefully he doesn't kill it, and he doesn't swap his deck yet, and he draws a 1-point Morkvarg. This should also force him to swap. Okay, so he's not going to swap. Okay, now we need him to draw his Morkvarg from this.
Get him, Wojtek!
Alright, Stregobor, you got this. Draw a Morkvarg. You can do it. We'll just take this guy with a lock here. Get some points out of our Letho. So we actually draw our second swap. That's exactly what we wanted. It's a lot of value here. And we really hope he drew Morkvarg. If he drew Morkvarg from this, it's going to be a 1.9 provision card. Or whatever it is, 8 provision, something like that. That's great. Now honestly, we could have locked something else with this Letho because the vitality on that Crow would have made the biggest thing we could hit with Vincent. But we're being greedy here. And that was probably not the right choice. So here's Lippy. Let's see if he has his Morkvarg in his deck still. Oh, he did. Alright, so we didn't hit the Morkvarg. That's pretty unfortunate. I think that was our best chance at winning. So Vincent's gonna kill Morkvarg. It's always a target for him. Man, I really wish he drew Morkvarg from Stregobor. What is that, like a... It's a 5 provision difference there. So here comes the Beastmaster, Bearmaster. Getting some more boosts on his cards over there. Huh. So now is when we do this. So we're gonna play Alchemist. We're gonna swap the Vincent and Vincent and the Queen's Maid. Look at this. Bam, 8 points. That's called value. I guarantee most of you have never seen this before. I'm like 100% sure most of you have never seen someone do this. But look, this is called value. You take your opponent's card, swap your power with it, and then start using their order. And we can do it again, because Stregobor actually drew us the second Alchemist. So the second Alchemist, what is Stregobor's value here? He gave us a 1 that creates a 4. Therefore it's worth 4 points, and whatever he drew is hopefully worth 1 point, giving us a 3-point advantage from Stregobor. They gave him an 8 for 8. Which is not great, and that's a lot of circumstance and a lot of setup. But this is actually pretty interesting. I'm quite excited by this game. Hope we managed to win. Yeah, Squirrels literally does nothing to us here. So what do we do? Alright, we'll just get the second one off. I hope he's confused by this. Look at that. Swap. Boom. 4 more points. It's called value. This Ceres was ended up being worth a lot more than I expected. Usually she's like an 8, right? But in this case we've gotten, well, we ended up with 15 points from the stuff she played with our other things. So we're actually ahead here, but I don't know if we're winning because he's going to have some big tempo plays still. Big point swings. And I'm pretty disappointed we didn't get that Champion of Small Blood though. But honestly, he didn't ever transform it. I don't think he had an option to transform it, so he would better off just not waiting for that anyway. I'm just taking Ceres. Here comes a Neuromancy. Who's going to draw? He's going to discard another guy. Summon, I'm guessing. Oh, so that's our card. So that was Roderick. So here we have we can do a reset with Peter. I would rather reset his card down by 3 instead of ours up by 3. Just on the slight off chance that he's going to Igni us after removing Stregobor. That's very unlikely, but this is ideally the better. No. Yeah, this is a better their play. I was just thinking here, well, I am thinking here that, yeah, he's not going to have an Igni, but we might as well just lower his anyway. Because the thing is, we could lock the 7, then destroy it with Vanamar. but we already have a lock somewhere else, and we might need our lock to deal with something actually problematic. So I think I'd rather save. So we're gonna get heat waved here. Okay. I think we have a good chance to win this game, and that's really great. This Stregobor deck is terrible. So Sarah, we'll take out one of the 4s, save our lock in case we need to lock something. Then Vanamar. I'm still hoping at this point that he plays something big for us to lock in Vanamar. But it looks like we're actually ahead like 13, so no small amount here. This is gonna be tough for him. I think we might be able to win a game. Provided we'll see what he has left. Oh my goodness, Stregobor, you failed us. You gave him an Igni. Oh, and he did have the Igni. I mean, we saved 3 points by reducing his guy's power instead of boosting our own. But, yeah, that's a pretty big blowout. So he's playing Igni instead of Roach. Man, I thought we had this one. Well, not had it. I thought we had a good chance to win. He just pulls out an Igni. Alright. So when we said earlier there's a chance he had Igni, we're actually, like, I wasn't being serious. I didn't think there was any real chance he had Igni, but I guess he did. Maybe this is Scorch. Can I have a Scorch, please? Just like, play a Scorch. I really want to win with Stregobor. Please. This actually is not worth any points. Okay, it's a Giga Scorch. Dang it. Alright, well, we made a good game of that one. That was fun, even if we lost. Alright, going into the second interesting game here. So this one should be fun. The last one was very interesting. I mean, we made a mistake in it. We really should have seen Igni coming when he heat waved our 7 Stregobor instead of our 8-point Letho in the melee row. But yeah, that game was yesterday. This is today. Moving on to a new game. This time we're more prepared. We're not playing super late at night trying to win a game with this deck, but and then losing like 10 in a row ahead of time. So this time should be better. Let's see how this goes. We're gonna move on to the Skellige deck again. I think this one has the best chance. Lockdown has a lot of options, but I think this actually has the best chance of us winning. So we're going to go up against... Did I ambush? Alright, so we don't have Stregobor. Can we just get Stregobor? Because we have pretty much everything else. Vildkaarl. I'm thinking about putting him... Nah. I was thinking about putting him back in the deck. But... I can always draw Olaf instead and try and get the order off with Stregobor. I could have tried for one more draw, but I liked what we had. So let's see what he does. We're going to open up our Handmade Protector. He's going to damage by 3. Really? Should have put that in the melee row, thinking about it. Well, it's the first game of the day. We're allowed one mistake. Let's put this next to him, start getting some points going. You know, if we lose this Protector from putting it in the range row, we deserve it. But, okay, dual both on a bomber. We're gonna lose it. Alright, we deserved it. We deserved it. Moving on, we made a mistake. That's it. We're gonna play good now. Play well. Armored Drakkar. I mean, there's no point in putting stuff in the melee row instead of range row at this point, so we just hit our bear guy, Bear Abomination. So we'll just keep going here. If he has another 3 damage in the range row, we've gotten a 3 points off at this point anyway. Alright, so Miner, he's playing a lot of very low provision cards. I think we're going to match him with that, but we want to get some points going, so we'll go with the Priest. This should get us some points going at least. With some kind of engine. I imagine he's just going to Nature's Rebuke it next. Not much to do about that. And then if he does that, we can either play Ursine, because we want to make a pretty big point swing here. We'll make a big point swing with Ursine to get him out of the round. We can do that. We want to keep most of these cards. Yeah, so I think I'm going to play Ursine next, probably Giga Scorpion, remove the Miner, then boost with the Tactical Advantage. That gives us the biggest point swing, and hopefully he passes. If he doesn't pass, I'm going to pass, because I want to conserve these cards for later on. We have combos with these we need to perform. Let's see what he does. Dunka. Okay, I'm just gonna pass. Like I said, I don't want to deal with Dunka getting points. He needs another card. Does I have to use Dunka's order? Yeah, we'll just pass. None of these I really want to use. The only thing that's... Well, we could play Blue Boy. Hold on. Yeah, let's play Blue Boy. Because we don't actually need this for a combo, because we can get Vildkaarl off some other way. Well, you know what I mean. We can activate Vildkaarl's Berserk another way. We'll just hopefully get Dunka here. We don't. I'm going to save this last charge, I think. I don't want to waste all the points now. And now we're going to pass. That should make him pressure. He should give us the win here. We really want to win this round. He should pass, I think. Dolbothama Bowman. Alright, fine. You can have the round. I'll pass. I'll pass. That's fine. You can have it. We might have wasted our Blue Boy Lugos there. I thought we had an opportunity to secure this round, and I really wanted to secure it in this case, so we don't get pushed by the scenario and stuff, but... Feign Death? That's their scenario? Let's see. Alright, what's he gonna play? He's gonna play something fairly big at least. I mean, he probably has a boosted Sheldon or something at this point. No, not Sheldon. He's got something boosted. And... hopefully... well, he played a +1 boost. Officer, okay. It's not enough points. Guess we'll just use a couple charges as leader. Takes him 2 charges, that's nice. Okay, so he's down a charge actually. He's playing Feign Death and Erlin. It's gonna be harder for him to get that out of his deck. Would have been nicer if we won the round though, so we could have tried to force it. Alright, what if Stregobor draws him as Erlin before he plays out of his deck? That'd be pretty cool. Olaf. Okay, so we have every card we want to draw with Stregobor in our hand, but no Stregobor. Is there anything else we could use it on? I mean, drawing the... who is... man, I can't remember these cards' names. Drawing the guy who transforms when he gets berserked would be nice, because it'd still be a 6. And he'd probably get a 1, so that'd be nice. Is he gonna push here? He's probably just gonna play Feign Death on us then, right? If he's highlighting something, I'm assuming he's gonna play Feign Death and try and push this round. That's normally what that's normally what this deck does. But we have Heat Wave for it if he just drops it. Then I'm have no problem just committing Olaf or something. We can always Stregobor write it. I'm trying to figure out. So we can Canute the Callus our Vildkaarl, right? And we have our defender set that up. Oh, he's just gonna pass. So Nairancy out something weak. Probably the weakest thing here is Heimei Protector. Let's get that out here. Throw Nairancy back in the next round. Be fine. So he's down to 1 charge, but it's gonna be a long round. I'm not sure how we do in a long round. If we get Stregobor, do we put Vildkaarl back into our deck? That's the question. I mean, we can guarantee. Okay, we have Stregobor and Nairancy. So what's in our deck? We want Stregobor rights. We've already used Ermion, so we can't tutor search it. Let's put Vildkaarl back in. Little Stregobor. Oh, we got Stregobor right too. Nothing great to summon yet. Blue Boy Lugos we don't have any activations for. Let's just go Defender. Let's try and set up the Stregobor as quickly as possible.
We'll show you how blood spelling's done.
Let's get this Covenant of Steel out. I think we have a chance here. More so than all these other games. Okay, so there's Feign Death. We're going to Heat Wave that right away. Okay, so I don't think we have enough removal to stop Erlin from coming out of this deck, sadly. Because we only have Canute, and we'd have to hit Covenant of Steel or Olaf to do 4. We could kill a token with 3 if we hit Vildkaarl, but we're drawing Vildkaarl is going to turn into Champion. I'm assuming that's going to work. I don't see how he's going to get through our cards. Our Defender card, at least. Another Officer? Okay, so he's going to heal himself, I'm sure. Or boost himself, I'm sure. I don't think this guy has Heat Wave in his hand.
I shall help.
Okay, so there's no way he can stop us now. There's no card in the game that can kill Stregobor in this situation that I'm aware of. Except for Shoop Mage. Shadow Shoop Mage. Always can kill something, somehow. Alright, so he's gonna move our Defender. That's fine, the Stregobor still goes off next turn. So we got Fisher King. Let's put Vildkaarl on top. We'll see, we use. And then Vildkaarl turns into Champion. Alright, so we didn't waste our leader charges on Blue Boy Lugos earlier. We got rid of 2 of his leader charges for ours, and we still get to Berserk our Vildkaarl. Quite nice. By the way, if you're ever trying to do this Vildkaarl thing with Stregobor, and I highly don't recommend it, like, please don't, but if you end up trying this and your opponent has an on-crate Longship and you play it and it dies because it's only a 1, man, that's gotta feel bad. Don't do that. remember when I was first playing this game like a year and a half or 2 years ago. I was first playing this game, and I was playing one of my brothers. I don't remember what it was. I was trying to do some combo, and I had gotten something in my hand hit by whoever sets the highest thing in your hand with 1. I got it hit by that. I still wanted to get off its deploy ability, but they had randomly generated a, I forget how, somehow this ended up happening, where they had a longship and they'd also reduced the highest thing in my hand to 1. And I think what happened was they hit the highest thing in their hand to 1, and then we were playing Stregobor, and they generated a longship, right, with Imperial Diplomacy, and played the longship. I think the thing that hit in my hand was Olaf, so I played Olaf thinking I could use the order coming up to get it to a 15. I took 1 damage. Just so you know, when you first play in the game, this stuff might happen. So he's gonna get out his Erlen. He played Vernissil. Sorry for that little story, but I thought that was funny. You guys might find that amusing. So here goes Olaf. We're going to damage Olaf down with our, what's this called? Priest. And then we'll use the last leader charge on him probably to get the fair and boost Olaf. This is going well. We're down a bit here. At this point we're down, we have 1 less card in our hand and 12 less points, but the cards we have are incredibly strong. Like Champion Spellbook comes out as a 12. If he kills our defender, I'm going to summon it back. At this point I was really scared for an Igni. Because I remember, like right at this point, I remembered yesterday, and I thought the guy didn't have an Igni, and we got blown out by it. And I just put 3 7s on a row, and they were very valuable cards, but he didn't have it. I really didn't think the guy yesterday had Igni, but he did. Alright, we'll go for Vildkaarl. This guy definitely. There were a couple of hints in that last game that I should have picked up on, but it was getting really late. In this case, there's no hints at all. This guy has an Igni. There's no reason he would use it. So he's gonna go for his last charge. Was this the take 7 damage guy or whatever? 8 damage? Yeah, Yevon. We're gonna lose our defender here. I could summon it back, or I could play Knut. Or I could play Drakar. I'll play Drakar. Get some value out of this. We'll just activate Olaf now. Plus 10 feels good. Now, if they do kill our guys, we can summon them back. And Knut's gonna be worth quite a bit here. Alright, whatever. Summon back the defender at this point, I think, and save Knut for last. There's nothing else I would rather have than Covenant Steel. So let's bring Covenant Steel back. I'm not sure what we're protecting against here. We're about to have... This is nice because if he has an Igni and he somehow didn't play it earlier, he definitely would have saved him. Yrden would hurt, actually. Maybe he has that, but I really don't think he's playing any Geralt cards. So Mahakam Volunteers... Wait, did Stregobor draw his last volunteer? Oh come on, Stregobor, you had to. Be our hero for once. I'm really excited because I think this is option. I think it's possible that that's at 1 point Mahakam Volunteer in his hand. Oh it is! Stregobor won us a game! So he drew the guy as 1 point volunteer, so it didn't come out of his deck. Saves us 4 points, and then also, he doesn't get another card in his hand. So if he had 4, he'd be at 6. Okay. If Stregobor didn't give him volunteers, we can't win that game. Stregobor won us that game.